Hello and welcome to the Podquest of Bread. Tonight I want to talk about state of emergencies. And of course, we're going to talk about the state of emergency because currently the city of Louisville is under a state of emergency. It's a very scary time in Louisville right now. And of course, it's a scary time because we're about to have the word come out on whether the cops who murdered Breonna Taylor are going to actually be charged with murder, or if they're just going to sit and get away with it scot-free thanks to qualified immunity. So I'm going to read a couple things that came out today regarding this state of emergency. The first one is from Mayor Fisher. Our goal is ensuring space and opportunity for potential protesters to gather and express their First Amendment rights after the announcement. Fisher said in a statement, "At the same time, we are preparing for any eventuality to keep everyone safe." It also came out that the police department has also canceled all days off for police officers to prepare for what is to come after an announcement about the case from Attorney General Daniel Cameron. I don't want to speculate too hard, but it almost sounds to me like they expect something pretty serious to be coming about. Almost as if they're preparing for Attorney General Cameron to announce that they're not going to charge the police who murdered Breonna Taylor. Almost sounds to me like they're going to just try and brush this one under the rug. And the only way to do it is to prepare for what will be an overwhelming amount of anger from the people of Louisville, Kentucky. And this will be justified anger. There's no way around this. This will be justified anger, and it will be visceral anger from the people of Louisville, Kentucky, and the people around this country who have been demanding justice for Breonna Taylor for months on end now. Now, the statement goes on to say, the goal, according to the mayor's statement, is to provide an extra layer of security for protests in and around the city's Jefferson Square Park, the site of demonstrations this summer. The photos coming out of Louisville right now show a city that is being boarded up. There are concrete barricades being placed all over Louisville, Kentucky right now. The courthouse has been shut down for almost a week now, by what I'm hearing, and 5 local parking garages are inaccessible. No one's able to get into them. This is by design. There is a literal reason they're doing this. This is a very, very clear indicator of what's to come. This discussion and whatever comes out from this, most likely the cops not getting charged, is going to require us to really have a serious discussion on qualified immunity. Because right now, these cops are hiding behind qualified immunity to justify the murder of Breonna Taylor, to pretend that they did the right thing, not the wrong thing. Now, the city of Louisville going on lockdown in a state of emergency, the buildings being boarded up, the blocking of 5 parking garages, cement barricades being placed all over the place, public works vehicles being used as roadblocks, massive changes in traffic patterns, and by what I hear, anybody caught protesting in Louisville who is deemed to have broken a law is going to be in jail until the 28th. This is just a minor part of this story. The big part of this story is what Sergeant John Mattingly, who was involved in the murder of Breonna Taylor, sent in an email to 1,000 of his colleagues apologizing to them and saying that you do not deserve to be in this position, the position that allows thugs to get in your face and yell, curse, and degrade you, throw bricks and bottles and urine on you, and expect you to do nothing. It goes against everything we were taught in the academy. The position that if you make a mistake during one of these most stressful times in your career, the police department and FBI, who aren't cops and who would piss their pants if they had to hold the line, go after you for civil rights violations. Your civil rights mean nothing, but the criminal has total autonomy. He also went on to say, I know what we did that night. I know we did the legal, moral, and ethical thing that night. This is a cop that was involved in the murder of Breonna Taylor crying because they are held accountable for their civil rights violations. Last I checked, when you're on the job, certain rights go out the door. When I'm at work, if I curse at a customer, my freedom of speech is not applicable there. If I tell a customer to fuck off, I am able to get fired for it. But somehow a cop is legally allowed to shoot and kill someone and in their sleep and not be held accountable for it. Sounds like bullshit to me. But what I find even crazier about this, and even more disgusting about this, is that this cop, he refers to the very people that are protesting, demanding the justice for Breonna Taylor. He goes on and says that they are thugs. He uses that very term, thugs, allowing the thugs to get in your face. That's absolutely disgusting. To refer to people that are just demanding justice and demanding that Breonna Taylor gets the justice she deserves, to refer to them as thugs because they want you to be charged with murder and held criminally liable for what you did, that doesn't make them thugs. That makes them patriotic, law-abiding Americans who actually want to see people's civil rights respected by you. Sergeant Mattingly seems to forget that he is responsible for handling his job in a way that does not result in the murder of innocent people. Remember, cops aren't even supposed to murder guilty people. But here he is, calling peaceful protesters demanding justice thugs. That is disgusting. Even if qualified immunity lands on his side and he is allowed to walk free after the murder of Breonna Taylor, he does not deserve a position on any type of law enforcement agency in this country, just based upon those words alone. Those words are disgusting to be uttered by any public servant. Then to go on and say that people throwing bricks and bottles and urine on you, well, after you pepper spray and shoot people with rubber bullets and beat them down with batons, people are going to respond in any way they need to, in order to defend themselves and defend those around them, in order to protect those around them from violent fascist regimes marching in the streets, in order to protect their friends and family and their fellow people out there protesting and demanding justice. It goes against everything we were taught in the academy. No, murder of a sleeping woman goes against everything you were taught in the academy. It goes against everything that you could have possibly learned in the academy. If I barge into someone's house and I shoot them in their sleep, I will be arrested and charged with murder within hours. That's how it works. This is the same logic I apply to cops shooting people that are running away from them. If I did it, I would be charged with murder. That's just how it works. Sorry, officer. I don't feel bad that people are demanding you be held accountable. And I find it disgusting that you react this way. But you continue to show the errors and the problems with the American criminal justice system and the public servants that wear a badge and a uniform and are called to uphold the laws above peace. This all relates back to one thing: the murder of a sleeping woman. The murder of a sleeping woman who was studying to be a nurse and was an EMT. A woman who did nothing, whose rights were violated in a no-knock drug warrant raid, whose door was busted down even though her house wasn't the target of the no-knock warrant. A woman who was shot in her sleep and murdered by the cops. And yet somehow I'm supposed to feel bad. It's impossible for me to feel bad about this. In fact, reading what this officer said in a nearly 6-page email or 6-paragraph email to his colleagues makes me more angry than I've ever been. But to the city of Louisville, I got a very simple thing for you. And I just, if anybody from the city of Louisville happens to be watching this, here's a really simple way to stop protests and civil unrest from occurring. Here's a simple way to stop people from being out in the streets and calling you out for your bullshit. Here's a really simple way. Arrest the people that fucking murdered Breonna Taylor. It's super simple. It's the easiest thing you could possibly do. You would solve this problem right now. Right now in Washington, D.C., there's a massive protest and march demanding justice for Breonna Taylor. I guarantee you, if the verdict comes down that these murderers will not be charged for their crimes, there will be marches and protests around this country. So if you want to avoid it, if you want to avoid all these problems, arrest the fucking murderers. It's that fucking simple. It is basic intelligence to understand that would prevent everything. Stay beautiful, human.